And it's kind of epitomized for me in that game in this moment where Zapman kind of just like it felt like an eternity just whittles down the Gold Fury and no one checks at any point, right? And he just sneaks it away. Maybe Spacestation was just a half step slow that whole game, but as long as you get the W, you get the W. It doesn't matter. You can start moving on towards game 2 and working on the picks and bans for that. Taco, what kind of adjustments do you want to see them make in the Picks and Bans for game 2?
Well, I think one of the primary reasons why we see so little Nejah play because of the bans and stuff is for that exact moment at the very end there.
Right.
Nejah does have the potential to turn a game completely upside down here, and I think that's exactly why we see Trifecta taking that first pick selection and Spacestation wasting no time at all to ban it away.
I think that's going to be the right call from Spacestation Gaming. You don't want to deal with the Nejah. Morgan, though, I feel like it's been kind of rising up in value as well. We've seen a sort of Bumba's movement speed build rise to prominence for Morgan's, allowing her to sort of loop around in the back line, make the most out of her stealth, and really start causing some problems. So she's getting a ban here as well.
I think Trifecta just need to be more patient on their game closers because they'll do everything right up until the last couple of moments, and then that's where they end up dropping the ball. It's like the team starts going a little bit on autopilot and starts thinking about what happens after they win. What are we going to do for game 2? And it's very easy to let that mindset kind of take over in a competitive setting because when you have as much of a lead as Trifecta did over Space Station, you've got the fire giant around all of your members. Everybody's been having very commanding and controlling team fights, and then next thing you know, you just drop the ball. And since this happened to Trifecta earlier in the week as well with their first set, I believe, of the SPL a couple days ago, I think that right now the primary focus should just be on being a little bit more patient, not trying to rush through the end like they seem to be doing right now.
Make sure they're a little bit more in that moment, just perhaps just one more voice kind of cutting through and making sure that they can lock everything in. What's already been locked in for Space Station is Baron and Ratatosker, so not just a strong laning presence and teamfight presence from Baron, but Ratatosker with that big rotational capability is going to be very, very strong, especially with Athena and Chernobog already banned out. Some of those other globals have already been limited.
And looks a little bit like Trifecta taking a page out of Space Station's book there with that Medusa Terra. I like the combination of Earth and Fury with the Petrify, plus you just get some great zoning control. I also think that Medusa is going to take a little bit of the heat and attention away from Freya because Ratatosker will have to split his commitment value, and andinster is going to have to decide, is it more worthwhile to try and pinpoint out Zapman, or should I just put all of my focus into Paul? I'd imagine that the early game is going to be played in a strategy where Space Station look to just isolate Paul on this Freya via Through the Cosmos. I think that Paul also could possibly be having a little bit of flashbacks right now to that Ratatosker combination that he had to experience earlier in this week, but at least this time around he won't have to worry about any more again for the double rattle from CLG.
Yeah, just one rat this time that I got to worry about. But I don't know. I think we might be seeing a solo jungle bit of influence here for like between Andy and Aqua, because Ratatosker Achilles is so much pressure early on, right? The ability for those two to fight, and there was a lot of that attention showed on the solo jungle side in game 1, I feel like. So perhaps Space Station are kind of like bulking up for that one more time, if that is where all the action's going to be. If they throw the Achilles over there, they certainly have that option. But Discordia is going to come in and add even more. Now you get the Discordia passive on top of that, too. They might want to fight early.
Well, what I really like about the Achilles-Ratatosker combo from Andy and Aqua is the fact that you don't need one to accomplish something. You can have both of them and they'll work fantastic together.
Right.
But just in case the other one isn't nearby, you do have a little bit of dive potential being introduced from the Ratatosker. On top of that, Space Station kind of has a composition where, sure, there's tons of burst damage, but just in case they don't end up finishing the kill, Achilles is always there with a Fatal Strike to hopefully pick up where they left off.
Yeah, this is really interesting, isn't it? They've got this sort of squad where they can Voltron together and have a really nice team fight, but if they need to, each like leg and arm can kind of do plenty of punching and kicking on its own, it feels like. So a nice draft that they've pulled together, as it's either going to be the Baron or the Achilles, it looks like, over there in that support role for them. I gotta think that's probably Baron going over to Jeff.
It'll be Baron. If Jeff streams of any sort of been alluding towards what his god pool might be looking like, ever since Baron came into play, I think that he's going to continue being prioritized mostly for solo and support. I like him much better, though, in the support role.
Yeah,
and
he looks good.
Neil also, I think, had a really strong showing on that Baron support in the first game. It's just that it didn't end up working out for them towards the end. Rather unfortunate. But I really like this Humbat's last pick selection for Trifecta. I think that big Fear No Evil is going to be crucial. And if Mask is able to connect with the appropriate timed interruption towards Space Station's team fighting capability, then I think Trifecta are going to be in a really great spot for a counter initiation.
Keep those pieces from Voltroning together, right?
Yes.
Well, if you still have time, go ahead there and get in that mixer poll and vote on who you think is going to win this game. Taco, I got to ask you who you're thinking on this one. I mean, for me, it's as simple as if Space Station gets started early, I don't think Trifecta's slowing it down.
I feel as though Space Station, this draft, is going to have so much burst damage it might just overcome this Freya pick before it can really get online.
That's a good point. That Freya's over there too and looking mighty scary. Well, we'll see which one ends up being a little bit stronger, that Freya or perhaps that Baron coming out from Space Station Gaming. Let's get it over to the casters for Game 2.
Thank you, Mr. Finch and Ms. Taco. It's now time to get back to the action again. After joining me, and we watched Trifecta win a game by 90%, but 90% is not all you need to win the game. You got to kill the Titan, but that's what SSG did.
Yep.
That's all. That's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really how
You
simple
sound like a
it
wheelchair
was.
too there. I'm like, okay, cool, let's move on with the game. But yeah, it was. Now, the one thing I do want to talk about is this Artemis Baron lane. I've not really thought about Artemis with the Baron, but if you think about the ultimate from Baron into a trap, into a boar, or any variation of those three combining, that is a rough look for somebody who only has one set of beats. That's the way I'm looking at it. So we'll have to see how this plays out in the laning phase. And talking about that, you can see exactly what happened game 1 in reverse. NeiruMah going to slow down the wave to try and make sure it takes a little bit longer for Space Station to clear. And Trifecta are going to take their own red buff. Now the question is, does Space Station go for the purple? Well, Paul is going for Space Station's red.
Well, he's going to have some trouble as Venenu shows up.
Oh, and he's going to lose that trade because level 2 beads use Venenu. Just realized he'd get level 2 off the wave. And instead, it could be Paul dead for first blood. One more basic could have been enough.
Nah.
He just didn't have, well, in all honesty, the attack speed to get another basic off.
Yeah, he's not. He's going to be well and good. But you were talking about the Sex Tank duo lane. I'm over here looking at NeiruMah and Zapman. What's really interesting about them is that Zapman's going to be able to dash out of nonsense. And here's a really micro strategy, but I have faith that NeiruMah's actually accomplished enough to be able to pull this off. You can actually block your teammate from being vacuumed with your own walls. So if NeiruMah is going to drop down the monolith or the 2 collapsing walls while the ultimate from JeffHindla is coming out, you can prevent Zapman from really being hurt.
He might not get pulled in, but I think he's still going to get Hysteria stacks in your team, which you've got to worry about that too, I guess. So maybe, you know, throw the wall down for your team and go, I will sacrifice myself, and jump into one of them. That could really help out. That's how I talk when I play support, by the way.
That's how you talk all the time. But we've seen that really come out from Sobek players. Variety, I think, was the first one that I saw do that, where as soon as the Baron went into it, he charged Prayed into the Baron, canceling the ultimate and canceling the aggression.
Mask was in the mid lane there, looking for a gank over the wall, and because of push onto andinster. Just trying to help out Paul a little bit in this lane now, and he's actually going to hit level 3 at the same time. The duo, well, the mid and jungle rolls, so Trifecta slightly ahead there because of the camp being cleared ever so slightly quicker.
Jungle camp invade coming out from Trifecta, nice and easy. No real big deal right there just yet.
Excited to see how this goes in the solo lines. I'm about to bring it up. Aquarius wins the trade. Meanwhile, left-hand side, BaRRaCCuDDa takes down NeiruMah with the help of JeffHindla. 2 kills to Space Station on the left and the right-hand side. Oof.
Yeah, that's going to be a big oof. You can hear the disappointment in my voice because that last loss is a very, very tough loss to shake off, man. And when you come into game 2, you're hoping for no hangover. You're hoping that you chugged the Pedialyte and you came through ready to go. But at the end of the day, I think Trifecta have a little bit of a headache from game number 1.
I could agree with that.
And it's not something I'm faulting them for, man. I mean, you felt that in your ranked games at home. Oh, yeah. Imagine on the Pro League stage. I'm really hoping the Trifecta can kind of shake it off right now.
Let's hope they can as this one continues. At the moment, it's only 2 kills, though. When you look at the gold, it's not all that big. It's going to be about the level 5 hits and allowing Trifecta to farm back in just a hair of a second more now. But this, like you said, though, if I was Trifecta, I would have rather that happened in a Game 2 situation.
Exactly.
Where we lose a set rather than a Game 1 situation where there's still a remainder of a set to play.
And, you know, these guys are professionals. I always like to call Mask an emotional player, but at the end of the day, when we talk about those sort of variables, they're so slight and so small. These guys know how to have what we call in America the quarterback mentality, just sort of like, that was a bad play, next play we're going to be on a new page, try it again. You know, so I'm not doubting these. I'm not saying these guys are going to lose.
Left hand side, andinster dunking down with the ultimate straight away onto Zapman, who snakes his way out of danger for a moment, but NeiruMah won't. And meanwhile, Andy gets to the Medusa in the back as well. NeiruMah will get cleaned up. BaRRaCCuDDa gets credit for the kill, and things are going Pete Tong for Trifecta right now.
Oh man, almost 1,000 gold deficit at 420, and things are not looking good for Space Station, man. Trifecta right now behind the 8-ball.
I mean, even the right hand side, ScariD after getting soloed there. Look at how well what he's doing now. It's not a terrible play by any stretch of the
That's a beautiful play.
He's farming creeps by not farming creeps, by just sitting in the jungle where Aquarius couldn't see him and waits for the lane to end up getting pushed. With Venenu.
Gonna get in trouble. There's the ult. There's the monkey. And Mask takes him down, gets his team on the board, and that's an important kill for Trifecta, both mentally and mathematically. They need to be able to stop this bleed.
ScariD runs through the jungle in towards andinster, throws out his Jingu Bang, who Mask was around the area
Ball's
too,
here.
but the beads are down.
Nice play.
Aquarius gonna pick up one and maybe even two.
Well, Mask still on the run. Paul with the beautiful lift, and now looking to put Aquarius in a bad spot. But Aquaman has the damage as well. Valkyrie discretion.
Oh!
Aquarius pokes under the tower and gets another one. That's cheeky, as you would say.
It was a little cheeky, but I loved it too. It's like, I'm not looking at you, I'm not looking at him, I'm not looking at you. Stab. That's all that happened. It's like, he did, because he was looking at the direction, he thought, I'm safe, I can just back safely here. And in the end, Paul ends up, well, not by choice, bringing him towards the situation, which gets Mask killed.
Yeah, the peripheral vision coming out from Aquarius in the clutch right
Cheeky
there.
poke. That's all it was. It's rough.
Just a little
And that's all it needed to get Trifecta. Well, get Space Station another kill, but Trifecta to get two for themselves. Now the gold lead is around 1,200 at the moment between these two teams. Aquarius, well, andinster, I should say, his ult is up, his ult is down again, but Zap is juking as long as he can carry it. He's done a good job of ability usage to survive as long as possible there. Petrify after the board, jukes out the ultimate, the spin damage from Andy. Still not enough to survive.
nice identification from a Spacestation Gaming to realize that NeiruMah wasn't in the lane, wouldn't be able to help, and so Zapman goes down really without a fight.
Aquarius, though, 3 kills to his name already. Can't really complain if your solo lane is that far ahead, and then you look at your dual lane, and well, BaRRaCCuDDa's 2-kill advantage there as well. Gives him a level lead over Zapman. Spacestation Gaming a lot better than Game 1, a lot better than against the United as well.
Yeah, certainly a nice look. And that last game, just as much as we were talking about kind of hurt Trifecta in the brain, Space Station have to be feeling happy as a pig in mud right now.
Yeah, for sure. No, they'll be just trying to pressure this even more now, knowing that this little bit of momentum, and momentum is so important, Spike. We talk about it all the time, specifically in best of fives, where, you know, we don't really talk about the first game. It's generally the second or the third game that's the most important in the momentum drive toward the later stages.
Yeah, you really want to look for that carryover in these best of threes specifically. Best of fives, you have more wiggle room. Singletons is kind of, you know, just about how you're going to approach the game from minute 1. But here in the Pro League, where we have the best of threes during the regular season, these are very, very momentum driven.
Very defensive position from Trifecta because they're setting up, but the problem is NeiruMah got caught out. They knew where he was. It's a trap. NeiruMah's still alive for now, though. But in the sky, Andy has gone up, and the pull is on from Jeff.
Yeah, Aquarius going to stay on the left-hand side of Jeff. ScariD up in the cloud. There's some trouble as Mask pokes his face in there. ScariD going to be coming up. Aquarius on the run, low damage, and Paul is here to turn things around.
JeffHindla in a lot of trouble now. The overhand smash comes through to clean that up, but ScariD
One for one.
a bit too much more than he can chew, so andinster will take him down. Meanwhile, the Hunters just going to continue doing their own thing. I just want to keep an eye on them because sometimes there's either fights going on, Gold Furies, or they're running over here to get involved.
I mean, Zapman had that wonderful play in game number 1 where there was so much action on the right side, he was able to sneak the Gold Fury. It's a little bit too early for that because just like game number 1, Zapman going into the boots because Andy has been paying so much attention to this long lane.
Yeah.
BaRRaCCuDDa has the lifesteal that's needed to solo that Gold Fury, and Zapman doesn't. So Zap really wouldn't have even had that option available to him if he wanted to.
Going back to that last fight, though, Tom, and looking back at what ended up happening there, really, when you think about it, the initiation was pretty solid from Spacestation Gaming, but after the burst of all the ultimates, it's Trifecta who get to be on the aggressive again because they have some sustain. You know, they've got a little bit of sustain coming through that's helping them out too.
Yeah, that was all on the right side, but on the left side, I want to bring attention to what our observer Doug pointed out there. Look at all of the red wards.
That's the best raw player in the world. I'll have you know.
You remember from the heroes versus pros, right? Calling us the heroes.
Is that what we're called now? I'll take it.
But the red wards there, speckled across that left side of the map. Andy is ganking so often because he knows he's ganking safe.
Well, you're talking about ganking. It's Masters ganking on towards Aquarius now, as Aquarius was looking for the kill on ScariD. But Aquarius is 1v2ing here. ScariD is not really able to do much more. His ult is still available. He might go for a cheeky poke. Nope, he'll survive. ScariD wasn't lazy back in. He didn't have the shop open that time. With vision, keep an eye on what was going on.
I like the idea from Mask, not even looking for the kill necessarily, just looking for the pressure alleviation. There's a 2.5 level lead for Aqua, which is huge. And Mask was just trying to create some distance, unfortunately unsuccessful.
Nice little word from NeiruMah there with the CC chain onto andinster, just going to force the double dash. And now Mask is still giving chase through the jungle. They're going to call it off at that point, no speed buff. Too much to get away with, but hey, away. Space Station. Cheeky Gold Fury, anybody?
Yep, that's easy. Space Station Gaming get the Gold Fury. A large part of that, again, due in part because BaRRaCCuDDa went with the gold gloves immediately, and Mask wishing he had him as Andy takes him down nice and easy. This is beginning to waterfall in SSG's direction.
But that play from andinster there, recognizing the Mask just uses ultimate in the solo lane to try and get onto Aquarius, means I can go aggressive on him. He's not going to have an ultimate to turn this around or force my beads. Gets himself a kill, looks to steal away the speed, which didn't work out, I don't believe. That's a shame there. But still, in the grand scheme of things, Spacestation Gaming starting to get a nice, substantial lead.
NeiruMah going to show up here in the mid lane. Don't know if Paul... Yeah, there it is. I was going to say, not sure if Paul's going to be able to make the play because Nanu still has his dash available. So the mid lane Discordia able to walk on out of there. No problemo. But Trifecta now down about 4,000 gold, Hindu. The Gold Fury would be what I would say that Trifecta needs to prioritize. But with it already down, I mean, they've got a tough situation. They need to quell andinster. What they need to do is make one of his ganks go awry, and then they can look to kill him. That'll give them a bunch of bounty because he's 4-1-2, and then they're able to make use of the time.
You're worried about andinster. I'm a little bit worried about Aquarius, in all honesty. I mean, already, look at the player damage he's put out, and that's substantial player damage. Can we just note that as well? Because sometimes solo laners get a bit... Andy, he's got blink? No. Okay. If you have Andy have blink, then I'm like, oh, maybe he's got that. But sometimes we talk about solo laners and substantial damage or useful damage is just poke. This is actually getting kills. This is getting results. This is getting wins for Space Station Gaming.
Mask is going to make the party happen. Jeff half HP, but he is rather tanky. andinster also in, causing more trouble than he's in. NeiruMah's going to be history, and Paul shows up to see if he can turn things around. The Valkyrie gets one from the sky. ScariD on the run looking for Aquaman, but Andy is here to save the day.
Aquarius still alive because of that. Now it's Mask under pressure because Venenu hits him with the apple from distance. And now ScariD forced to the ult in the sky. Paul left alone though, gets some good poke out. ScariD comes down, and Jingu Bang will take the new mid laner's life.
Andy's still on the run. Now Paul going to cut him off on the north side, but Andy's going to look to heal up thanks to that Assassin's Blessing. ScariD in the bird form. BaRRaCCuDDa going to show up to keep enemies at bay.
Zapman, Petrify. Is it available? Can he get in range? He's going to turn around towards BaRRa instead. BaRRa drops the ball, but he doesn't know Paul's behind him. Tusky makes sure, though, that Paul can't get the kill.
Oh, Zapman's still on the run. Andy could make a play even though he's very low HP. That's slow, and Spacestation going to play it a little bit safer, yeah.
That respect from both of them. I'm like, all right, this is a little bit too close. Yep. I'm not as comfortable. I'm surprised by BaRRa because he's got Bigs and Aegis, but chose to save those instead of getting a kill against Zap in that situation. Doesn't need to risk it considering the state of the game his team's in.
So right now for Trifecta, really, I still think they need to look for andinster. He's 5-1-3 now with another kill here. And sure, I'm with you. Aquarius will be an issue, but he's generally been relegated to the right side of the map.
Well, at the moment, everyone is on the right side of the map. Jeff's going to keep him on the right side of the map. And NeiruMah still alive, barely though. Indifferent story from Mast, who went in to help and ends up being the sacrificial lamb.
Not the play you want to do right there. NeiruMah is the player that should die. Mask saving the life of his support player. It's not a misplay.
No.
It's just not what you want
Here's
to
another
happen.
play. Scary D forced to ult. He recognized andinster just in time, who was dunking down with his ultimate of his own. His tier 1 tower will now be gone. And I mentioned Aquarius, and we kept bringing about Andy Aquarius, who gigank. Well, Aquarius is going to be rotating around a lot more too now, so both of them are still threats.
Now you're in a scary spot. Because like I said, Aqua was kind of relegated to the right side. Wasn't really doing much outside of that. Now andinster has been the one all over the world. Well, guess what? Aquarius can join Andy in his hot air balloon. And yeah, it's going to be a little bit tough here for Trifecta to fight directly into this, because Aquarius and andinster are playing these aggressive characters, and they're going to make these team fights that much more difficult to deal with across the way.
In fact, I'm looking at the comps. Is really just solo and jungle is where all the action really is happening in this game, where the attention of both teams has really been paid to. Now, the gold speaks for itself. You can see it at the top of the screen, but the experience is a little bit more than you'd expect, I feel like, here. And a lot of that really is from that solo jungle composition.
Yeah, this, oh man, this game started in game 1. I really think this is
started
the
at the
momentum.
30-minute mark of game 1.
I really
Let's put it
think
that way.
it's momentum from game number 1. Just the guys on Trifecta haven't been able to get anything going. Paul is their light in the darkness, and Paul needs to make things happen if this team is going to succeed.
He did get the monkey toss there, and I love the fact the cameraman hovered straight on Venenu, because he could have jumped to that monkey mask, but he chose not to. Didn't have the fear no evil as it was already used. Paul in mid lane takes a bit of pressure as well, as now Andy's getting a bit cheeky in the jungle. But this is just a distraction, because Spacestation Gaming are on the gold fury again.
Yeah, they're already down to about a third, and nobody from Trifecta even close to the neighborhood. Andy goes in the sky, half satellite, half aggressive. And the Gold Fury goes to SSG for the second time this contest, bringing them up to 7,500 gold.
Discombobulated is the word I want to use for Trifecta right
Yeah.
now. And I think that's what Spacestation are trying to keep Trifecta being, is discombobulated. Unable to get on the same page and find what they were looking for. It went so well for them in that first game.
Distracted, discombobulated, and if Spacestation Gaming have their way destroyed as well, Trifecta will be.
Triple
But like
D.
I said, Trifecta picking up the red buff on their mid lane Freya. Paul's going to be the guy. Paul has to be the guy.
Well, Venenu is the guy getting focused right now. His Aegis keeps him alive.
Get a mask.
Will get him with the in-hand just to bring him down. Brings it to 6-12 now. Pyromancer is available. This one-man advantage could be useful on that side. But Zapman is currently still over in the left, just about to go farm some more waves. He's currently a level down at the moment with it standing against BaRRaCCuDDa. So he still needs that farm.
If I'm a Trifecta fan at home right now, I'm kind of really sad. This is a swan song for Mask, and he's playing his brains out right now. He played extremely well in game number 1, despite the loss. He tries to get his own blue buff, and he's going to be here. Can he get out of here? NeiruMah shows up, drops the ultimate.
Not gonna lie, I think Mask could have taken that trade a little bit more, but he backed away a little bit worried. He might still get the kill into the sky, and it's the gets and away to Zapman!
Bang! Oh, the age is not going to be good enough, but the basics will help.
Christmas came early for Zapman, then he was like, hello, thank you. Live andinster, you shouldn't have. Neither should Aquarius. And now it's 2 kills for Trifecta, double kill to Zapman. That just opens a slight hair of a window of hope for Trifecta.
Big mistakes from Spacestation Gaming right there. I say it all the time, Graham. You need to play your lead and make the aggressive plays, but you can't let the lead play you. I'm down looking for the speed buff invade, but don't do it by yourself, especially when Mask is going to be a threat. I'm down for Aquarius being on the left side of the jungle, but don't do it by yourself, especially when Zapman has the ultimate. It's just a haphazard situation for Space Station. The good thing I can say about SSG in this scenario is that they chose to go rogue when the Gold Fury was already down. So worst case scenario, Trifecta does what? They get a kill or two. They can't even look for the invade in the enemy jungle. So, yeah, misplay, objective bad play from Spacestation
But it's
Gaming.
okay.
But it's okay, because there ain't nothing Trifecta can do with their slight win.
Right-hand side, though, Spacestation Gaming starting to group up around the Pyro. They've got more coverage here, too, and Aquarius left in lane alone. He's no sign of SpLD just yet, as he's just coming back from a trip to base. So a little bit more gold in the coffers of Spacestation Gaming, as well as a tiny bit of experience.
Yep. Little small objective there for SSG as they continue their 6K gold lead.
Looking through the builds, I'm interested in anything, maybe screaming at you, because that's the best thing about builds now. It's like, hey, let's look at the items. What unusual jank stuff have we got today that we've not seen before, you know?
Yeah, I mean, everything seems to be relatively standard. I'll keep an eye on that Freya build, though. NeiruMah trying to chase Spacestation Gaming out of the jungle, and SSG on the run. Matt's gonna have the ultimate available, and he drops it right now, and JeffHindla gets dropped by ScariD.
Yeah, JeffHindla goes down there. He was the only one that really got hit by the Fear No Evil. Andinster went into the sky to help reinitiate if required, but I think Spacestation Gaming is just gonna accept that loss there of Jeff, unfortunately, and go, okay, we're in an awkward position, we get punished because of it. Trifecta played that very well.
I'm looking for Trifecta to be on the aggressive at some point. You're down 6,000 gold, but look at the itemization on the bottom. You're down the gold, but you've got a comparable itemization scenario. So next Gold Fury, if Space Station doesn't wind up on the Fire Giant side, I want to see Trifecta make a play for it despite being down, Graham. I know it'll be an uphill battle, but it's a battle they have to take.
I get it. I'm kind of of the opinion, though, as long as they can just continue farming up to the best of their ability, as Paul gets all in by Andinster, but good work from NeiruMah, sets up Andy to be dead. Nice turnaround there. That was the aggression that went too far again.
And now Aquarius going to be in trouble. Beautiful strike
Apple.
from Venenu.
Apple.
Oh, and he gets it. He gets the ricochet. He's like a pool player.
On an apple. Gets the ricochet indeed, but it's not going to be enough for a kill. I'd actually like Trifecta to sit back, get experience, and fight under the Phoenixes, actually, because I think their Phoenix engage, defense is actually really strong, because everybody on Space Station wants to get aggressive.
There's the ultimate coming out from Zapman, aggressing onto Venenu, and JeffHindla uses the vacuum beautifully. Nenu, welcome to the team as he puts down Mask. Maybe they can continue the fight. Another great strife from Venenu, lines Aquarius up. Nenu picks up a double kill himself. That's gonna be trips, baby. Give me your money. And it's all about the mid lane.
Be a tier 1 tower now, maybe even a tier 2. Paul's the only one left alive. No ultimate available, but does have his beads. And after that tier 1, Space Station scuttle off into the jungle, and we exactly know where they're going right now.
Easy Fire Giant. No way Paul can really disrupt this whatsoever. And, you know, I think that Space Station, sure, Trifecta have a decent Phoenix defense, but between JeffHindla and Andinster's ability to get to the back line, I'm not really that high on Trifecta's ability to defend under the Phoenix. What I would change my tune for, and where I thought you were going, was that Trifecta have this deathless Freya. If you can sit back, farm, and meet the level 20s, Freya's going to be able to blow these players up. Freya's going to be able to do what she was drafted to do, and that might be good enough for Trifecta to find the victory if Trifecta can set Paul up to be the big boy on campus. But right now, I mean... Yeah,
I mean, the thought process, though, behind the defense from Trifecta of Phoenixes is when you look at Space Station's comp, it's going to be telegraphed how they're going to engage.
Sure, yeah.
And on top of that, both old Jeff, Aquarius, and Andinster are going to be wanting to dive in to make sure they get their abilities off, which leaves the carries on the backline alone. You got someone like Mass and someone like ScariD that could easily get back to that backline when that happens. They could cause a lot of problems.
It's possible. It's possible. We'll see it. We'll have to just see how it plays out.
Well, I mean, we're going to see him at the Phoenix line with the Fire Giant around the waist now and how this game has been going. But full credit to JeffHindla's use of the life of the party in that engagement. He used that to the best of his ability to slow down the enemy team, draw out relics. Funny enough, you know, we talk about Ares being the beads burner, the relic burner.
Yeah.
I actually just think BaRRaCCuDDa is the relic burner of all relics. He just makes everybody panic and hit those buttons.
A very interesting mask right here, Lono's mask being picked up by JeffHindla. So he's playing the mage in an off position theoretically.
I love this.
He's going to subtract the damage. Hey,
Caught BaRRaCCuDDa, sleeping. Zapman gets the kill with the Petrify. Andy in the sky can only watch, but looking for a nice old hit and finds one. who leaps away. Zapman, however, though, still left around, and Aquarius picks him up. Andy looking towards Mast, who ran away, but not to fight another day. Aquarius gets a double, NeiruMah trapped in the mid lane.
Meanwhile, the lift is going to keep Aqua at bay for the moment, but NeiruMah probably going to go down. ScariD wants no part of this, and he'll run on away. Spacestation Gaming barreling down the mid lane.
Should be a Phoenix this as well. I'm not sure how much Paul and ScariD can do on their own. The Lono's Mask, we were bringing it up a little bit earlier. I love this on BaRRaCC support.
love it.
It's not for the sustain. Don't worry, you lose sustain, obviously, for your team, but you're using a Lotus Crown and you can tap her to Kingdom Come.
That's really what it's about. It's about the longevity of the play. Paul going to fall down for the first time in this game, and Venenu picking up his 5th kill without a death so far. Spacestation Gaming not going for the blitzkrieg that they had in game number 1. Just going to pick up the Phoenix and then look for the left side one.
Response coming through. That's why they don't want to try and push to the end like we saw in the previous games. Plus only 23 minutes in. Bit of a difference around the 30-minute mark there too. Player damage, it's all Aquarius, but sneaking up quietly. The newest addition to Space Station is this Discordia Venenu.
Venenu has been very strong and really getting a chance to shine here on the Space Station Gaming roster. What him and andinster have been able to combine with for this game has been really impressive, and I hope it's a sign of what's to come for Space Station Gaming.
I wasn't going to talk about this, but I'm always worried for Venenu on this team because I know Space Station's fans' track record. Like, the fans of BaRRaCC and Jeff, let's put it that way.
Sure.
And any team that they're ever on, they always look at their team and go, oh man, they never have a good team. I almost have a feeling it's very similar to what has happened previously through the career. I just don't want him to be the scapegoat, which could potentially happen if Space Station Games struggle this year.
You know, it's possible, but Venenu right here, this guy is...
Xenotronics is the reason I'm saying that. Same sort of thing.
I think the fans might have been correct about Xenotronics.
I think they blamed him for things that wasn't his fault, that's for sure. But anyway, enough of that. Let's hope it works out for Venenu.
No, absolutely. I've been very excited about this young man. He's your finals MVP, right? He looked really good on United. I think he's going to help Space Station. He's just got a lot behind him. Also, shout-outs to Venenu. He's been having a lot of success in his content creation situation. I just want to give him a shout-out for his own personal success. And hopefully, that kind of helps his team as well. Space Station Gaming could use a win. They always seem one step away from victory, and maybe Nenu's the guy to make it happen.
Well, let's see if he can make it happen sooner rather than later. Right-hand side, minions now coming through. Andy keeping the people in, checking the mid lane, and has that ultimate to get across to this fight if required. Left-hand side's heavily pushed up, so it's going to be a while before those minions make an impact. And so Space Station just hard forcing this almost at the moment, and there's no real window. Like I said, on Phoenix defenses, the only real the way Space Station have to go in is Aquarius blinks or andinster ults.
Fire Giant up in about 13 seconds. That's why we see the retreat from SSG. They're going to kill the Fire Giant in record time and then just come down the right side lane.
Yeah, this is where Space Station want to fight, though. They want to fight in the jungle. If they can lure them in, this is where this composition is going to shine. All these little clutch, narrow corridors, and you've got things.
They don't know.
They do with the minions. The minions will let it know. Aquarius knows that, so he blinks in to start the fight.
There's Venenu, but he's going to be hit up by the Fear No Evil. Down from the sky goes andinster, and Paul takes to the sky, and then goes, finds the lift. Beads are good, and Paul's in the ground.
But ScariD answers back the kill onto Venenu, so both mid laners dead. ScariD has no ultimate, and andinster still giving chase. The rat will kill the monkey and get himself a double kill.
andinster has been on fire this game. Like I said, Andy and Venenu have been the key, the cornerstone, the everything for SSG here today in game number 2. Love what they've been able to put up. They've got 23 on the kill charts. They're going to pick up the Fire Giant as well. Venenu won't be here, but I think we can still get a Phoenix even without the mid lane mage.
Good play from Space Station Gaming today. Even when they were up against it in game 1, they hung in there and found the victory that was required of them. Game 2, took that momentum and ran with it. Trifecta, though, on the other hand, it's going to be sad to see Mass go, in my opinion, but hopefully they can get themselves back onto, some sort of standard ready for the rest of the season.
Game number 1 was such a different story, and I hope the Trifecta can watch this VOD back and see what went right. We always talk about watching the VOD and look at your mistakes and fix them, and Trifecta need to do that as well. But I think it's more important for this team to internalize what they did correctly in game number 1 and seek to repeat that, because that was a top-tier team that I saw in game number 1 today, Graham, and I want to see them continue that. I want to see them continue and succeed.
I'm definitely looking forward to who the jungler is going to be for Trifecta too, because that will mix up this composition of this team overall, honestly, of how the leadership is going to be. Because remember, like, Mas would have been the shot caller on this team in the jungle role, especially with Paul coming in, but now he's taking taking leave. It's going to be who's going to step up. NeiruMah is definitely going to be amongst that conversation for sure. There's only so much you can do from the support role.
Yeah, Neil, and we've always seen Zapman on his teams. As the game gets later, Zapman starts to be one of the macro shot callers.
Zap's voice appears at level 20. When he's level 20, he's full build. He's like, boys, I'm ready to rock. And to be fair, and credit to him, it's probably what happened in game 1, because I saw that he hit 20 and then they were grouping and punishing them. Doesn't surprise me. But a Hunter can't really lead from the moment 1. They can't talk about the basics of camp contests and stuff like that. They can after the game, but not during.
I've always preferred the jungle to be the shot caller overall, because they have the real view of the entire battlefield.
Who's winning, who's losing, should they be losing, should they be winning?
All across the board. Certainly the look that you want. You want the big you want the wide eyes, essentially. So Space Station right now, they've already made their change. Nenu's here for the whole split. Don't have to worry about anything else.
Look how slow Spacestation Gaming are being. They want the minions on the right-hand side to really push up, or someone to show face in that right-hand side so they can start pressuring elsewhere.
I think that's what it is. They're really trying to lure somebody into the wrong spot and then look to take advantage of that opportunity.
Weak in middle Phoenix, remember, too. So andinster being on the left-hand side one, it's not going to be easy to take that down. But it will be for this middle lane one. Now, Jeff could walk up and tank some shots. He's got the low-nose mask, too. And Aquarius blinks in.
Right on the back line. Paul going to take a chunk out. Meanwhile, Andy in the air, and Mask going to be buried. BaRRaCCuDDa gets the good hit. And NeiruMah exits stage right, but Scary D in the middle of everyone. And the mid lane Phoenix is history.
This could be game sooner rather than later now. The left-hand Phoenix having minions there, too. andinster just working away at it. And Mask got in there, got his ultimate off, but immediately BaRRaCCuDDa removed him moments after he engaged.
Well, it's a 5-on-4 at the moment. Space Station Gaming looking to play aggressively. Maybe not.
Lower than that, maybe? They need some minions is one thing they really want to bring with them. Now, is that a 5 minion wave mid? I don't believe it is, but there is one on the right-hand side that's taking a while longer. But any minions will do at this point, I feel. With one member already down, Mas no ultimate. Paul and Zap are the only 2 with ults, and these are 2 important ultimates right now.
Scary D existed at one point, but no longer. Making a 5-on-3 for the moment, and the Titan under attack.
And now goes the Titan will fall. Space Station Gaming. They're going to take this 2-0. It wasn't clean. It was dirty. At least that was game 1. But the good news is, if you're a Space Station fan, they finally win.
Trifecta really struggled here. Trifecta really struggled here in game number 2. An unfortunate swan song for Mask, who has been one of my favorite players to watch here in Season 6. And really, I hope he comes back at some point.
He probably will.
He's just an exciting player. And, if he doesn't, just from me to Mask personally, I wish you the best of success. I wish you the best of luck in whatever you do. You've had a great time in the Smite scene. It's been fun to watch.
I don't care about you unless you come back. That's me. That's it from us, though, pretty much. Who do you guys think was MVP for that game specifically? Looking around, Aquarius had a very good early game. I think andinster played well throughout, but a couple of mistakes here and there.
I think you're cutting him short, man. I can ignore the mistakes of the way that he played.
Some of those mistakes can come back to haunt you. That's my viewpoint, but it's up to you guys at home to make the vote, not us. We just get to argue on it. That's what we do.
Let me quote the famous philosopher. It doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning is winning.
Doesn't matter if it's BM, if it's true. Let's head over to the desk.
Words of wisdom from the savage gambler himself. Thank you, Tom and the Gambler. It's going to be Finch and Taco closing out at least set 1 here. And Space Station came storming back there in game 2. Game 1 was kind of close. Game 2, I don't feel like it was nearly as close.
I think Trifecta just also had a really hard time recovering mentally after what they experienced in game 1. We know for a fact that was a pretty hard blow to the team morale probably. And one big part about competitive play is just how you manage to bounce back. But this BaRRaCCuDDa-Achilles combination was just way too much, I think, damage up front for Trifecta to have time to really let their late game carries come online. I think the problem came in also because they went with Humbots and Freya, and one or the other, I think, is the general rule of thumb here. If you're going to go for low pressure in the mid lane, it's either you pick the low pressure for your jungle or you pick it for the mid laner. You don't typically double down for it on both.
And they'd already, I feel like, just because of the draft that Spacestation had, kind of given up so much pressure to solo jungle. Aqua and Andy came out of the gates so aggressively and were able to definitely get far ahead. But there are problems in duo lane too. Jeff and BaRRA were able to find quite a few picks. But it sounds like when it comes to winning over the hearts of those at home, the one that was able to do that was Aquarius, selected as your MVP. And I think he had that kind of performance here. He's looked so great all Season 5 long. I really feel like he elevated his game in spring, and it's been at that same hike this whole time. But this game, he definitely kind of ran it from front to back.
The poor Paul in this moment also, because he thought he was saving the day, and then the next thing you know, Mask is still going to end up falling. And I think that Aquarius definitely understood his stance in this match, and that he was meant to just follow Andy everywhere they went. Those two just had to play off of each other, and that's what we were hoping to see. That's exactly what we got out of this match. You have to take advantage of that solo side pressure, because then Mask, not only is he losing jungle on one half of the map, but whenever he tries to go make up for it in duo, well, that's not exactly a winning lane matchup either. They're not going to have lane control over the Baron Artemis with the Terra, just because levels 1 through 3, she just struggles a little bit too much, I feel, and that did come back to haunt Trifecta in the end.
And so often, Taco, I feel like when you have lost pressure in every lane, the person who's sort of stat line or numbers it looks worst on is your jungler, because now there's nowhere for them to go and there's nothing for them to do, right? There's no one to gank, there's no farm to get, because they can kind of rotate out and steal the buffs that are nearby, and that's how it ended up looking there for Mask. They had no pressure in solo or duo, or in mid. There's really nowhere for him to go, and he ended up the one I feel like that kind of looked the worst for it.
And I want to clarify also on why there wasn't pressure in the mid lane. It's not that Freya has issues clearing the wave, it's just that there was too much dive potential from Space Station early on. You just don't really want to risk it as a Freya, because you get hit by the Discordia route and then all of a sudden you're out of position. It's way too easy for andinster to just come wrapping around from a flank and catch you out of position early on. So Paul was forced to kind of play off of that tower line initially, and that also just helped Space Station with acquiring all of that map pressure, keeping them constantly inside the jungle of Trifecta.
Well, if you had any worries out there at home, whether or not Space Station would still look strong after their tough loss earlier at E United, hopefully those have been answered. Space Station look as strong as ever. Hopefully they'll be able to keep that going, but we're not done here with the SPL. We have one more set to go. We're going to take a quick break, get everything ready, and we'll see you then.